We are in Hebrews today. Any of you believe in ghosts? I don't really know. I never thought I believed in ghosts until I moved into my house now, And but don't worry, I got rid of them. Don't worry, I did. Whatever was there, I got rid of. I was in. I might have been telling some of you that I was in my. We hadn't been there very long, and this is back when my dog Moon was alive. And I was down the basement because I heard something, so I was like, well, obviously, there's something going on down there I need to take care of, the boiler, the something or whatever. And so I go down, and I've got, I've done some work on it, so it was just like one small incandescent light. Of course, that's how every scary movie starts, right? And there's a small incandescent light just kind of shining a little bit. And so I go down there, and I'm like trying to figure out what that noise was, and it's like I can't. And the nearest light is all the way on the front side of the house, and there's another incandescent light bulb there. So I'm walking, and I have my flashlight, and I'm trying to look around to see what in the world was going on. And I hear this crash right next to me. It sounds like a huge glass bowl, right? Just smashing. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, I don't know what that was, but I'm not staying to find out, right? So I go over and I call my dog, Mooney, come here. And she's like, and she looks down, she's like, And I'm like, Mooney, come here. And she's like, I'm like, Moon, get down here. She's, she's like hesitating. I'm like, what's wrong? I'm not mad at you. I just want you to come sniff. So she gets down to the bottom. I guess, sniff. I want to know what's going on. And she's like, and so I'm just like, oh, you worthless dog. And she hightails up. So I'm like, well, she's running. I better. So I go upstairs. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to wait until the morning because it's too dark down there to figure out what's going on, right? So I go, the next morning I go down there, and I'm looking around. I'm like, what was it that smashed right next to me? And I see this, and I eventually see a light bulb that fell. And I'm like, you see, that explains it. The light bulb just came out of the socket all on its own. Wait a second. Light bulbs don't just go out of the socket all on their own. And I'm just like, what is going on here, Lord? And so then I start praying and get some holy water, and I'm throwing it around. And I'm like, Lord, if there's anything, you see, because I don't believe in, like, ghosts, right? Yeah. But so I'm like, okay, so what is it then? And because I do believe in the supernatural, right? But I don't believe in ghosts. So it's like, okay, that almost is more scary because if it's not a ghost, then it's probably something evil or unclean. The Bible talks about these spirits, right? And so I'm just like, all right, Lord, if there's anything, in the name of Jesus, anything's evil here, get out, that kind of thing, So I'm exorcising the whole basement, right? I go upstairs, and everything's from then on, like nothing. And I'm like, well, all right, Lord, And then I go upstairs, and this is like a couple years later, and I'm standing upstairs in one of the doorways of the bedrooms, and I'm just doing something, and I hear this thing smash again. I'm like, what's it with the smashing? And there's nothing. It's just nothing. It sounded like a picture falling, and there's no picture in that room. There's just nothing. And I'm looking outside, and like, it's probably outside, because I've heard voices, and I'm sure they were just voices outside that carried into the house. I'm positive, because I don't believe in ghosts, you see. So it starts to dawn on me that maybe my conviction about, like, ghosts and stuff isn't as great as I thought it was. Maybe I maybe do believe in the possibility. Now, the Bible says that to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord, but then where does everyone else go if they don't believe, Do they go to this place of burning sulfur and stuff like that? All that the Bible describes is this grave. They call it Hades, the underworld. So I'm just like, well, this isn't a dialogue on ghosts, don't get me wrong. It's just an introduction to what I'm going to talk about. So it's like, I don't know what that is. I don't know. Is it just because I don't believe it's in the middle of the earth. I mean, there's, I think it's a spiritual dimension, right? I think heaven and eternity is a spiritual dimension. The Bible talks about it going up, but if you keep going up in space, you're not going to, like, run into heaven. It's not how it works. Heaven's outside of time and space, right? And you're like, I don't know. Okay, just take my word for it. I'm a professional, all right? So, but I believe that it's, time outside of time and space is eternity. And so God is like, if he could just split it, he'd split it open and there you could see glory. So maybe it's the same way with the grave. It's just a slightly different dimension, and maybe sometimes the two collide. I have no idea, but all I know is when I hear something go thump in the night, I'm praying that my blanket is really protective. I'm praying that it becomes an invisibility cloak, right? Because whatever's out there, I don't want it seeing me. Because we have a set of beliefs, but how far does that belief really take us? Now in Hebrews 11, and I'm just going to read the first 3 verses. Hebrews 11. This is, it says, faith is the confidence that what we hope for will actually happen. It gives us assurance about things we cannot see. We all good on that so far? Oh. All right. Sorry. Through their faith, the people in days of old earned a good reputation. By faith, we understand that the entire universe was formed at God's command. That what we now see did not come from anything that can be seen. So, a lot of us, probably most of us, if not all of us here, have a certain element of faith in God. And maybe we're still trying to figure out what that is. Maybe we're listening and we want to believe in God. Some of us have been brought up in it, and we have a very strong adherence to the concept of God. And we're holding on fast to the day that, we see him or whatever. There's all of us are in different stages of this journey in life, spiritually and all of that. And as I was thinking about part of why I'm a Christian, and I call this haunted houses, is because I grew up my whole life believing in this being that loves me, right? But that love seems scary to me. And I think as a child, I probably was serving God out of fear more than out of anything. As a young person, I was scared. I think I mentioned last week or so that during communion, communion, you didn't mess with communion, man. That was like deadly. People will die if they eat unworthily. It's like, what does that mean? Well, it means you've been naughty. That's what that means. And if you eat communion, you've been naughty, you're going to die. I'm not saying anyone told me that. I'm saying that's what's going on in my head because that's what I heard. Something similar to that. And so as a kid, you're growing with this mind of like, all right, so I need to behave myself, right? But that only takes us so far in this journey of life, because after a while, it's like, listen, God, if you don't love me for who I am, then forget it. I don't know if anyone's ever come to that point in their life. I've never, because I'm scared to do that. No, I've had those moments in my life where that faith went from just being something I was taught to being my own. You see, whether or not I believe in ghosts or not is really not terribly relevant. Because I believe that there's life after death, and I believe that there is a spiritual world. I don't know what all that includes, but I know the Bible speaks of good and clean spirits and then unclean and evil spirits. And I don't want the evil ones anywhere near me. You got that, right? You've seen enough movies. So when something goes thump in the night, we have to say, okay, what do I believe in right now? If I can't see something, do I believe that God is there with me? Or because I can't see God, is he even with me? I'm not trying to make this more complicated than it is. But I think sometimes the actual understanding and adherence to something that seems to be completely theoretical, that we have to we have to take a look, step back and take a look and say, okay, God, what is my faith and what does that faith actually mean? When Abraham, and if you keep reading chapter 11 of Hebrews, it's like the hall of fame of those of faith, all the patriarchs and some matriarchs that were of the faith, and by faith, Abraham. Now, Abraham was somebody who was just minding his own business. His dad was not a follower of Yahweh, of God. And so, but God called Abram. His name was Abram at the time. And God called him, and he said, hey, Abram, I'm going to make a new tribe out of you, a new family. And Abram's like, okay. So now, as a sign of this covenant with you, you have to be circumcised. He's like, what's that? And when he found out, he was like, oh. Now, that's not too pleasant. But it's like, yeah, but this is the sign. It's like, who's going to see this? What kind of sign is that? It's a sign for himself, first of all, and his family. Well, at least his wives, I suppose. And he took on this role as the patriarch of this whole entire family, which he became the father of all the Arabs and all the Hebrews, all the Jews. Ironically, those two are brothers, half-brothers, and they still can't get along even today. Of course, we can't get along either, as no matter where we're from, whether it's humanity. Anyway, so Abram, by faith, went out, and he says, I'm going to take you, but I want you to leave your family, and I want you to go to a distant place where I'm going to show you, and you're going to start a whole new family there. Your descendants are going to be like the stars in the sky. He's like, wow. Because at the time, he had no kids, and his wife couldn't have children. And then what happened was, and if you know the story, you know that Sarah was getting up there in age. He was already 75 when God told him this. So he was already up there, and Sarah was a few years younger. So Abram was about 100, and she's in her 90s, and she's like, this is ridiculous. This isn't going to happen. You see, but she had faith at first. She believed it. But then as time went on, she stopped believing it because she wasn't seeing any evidence of it. And it's like, well, what kind of faith is this? What kind of God is this? I mean, ladies, come on, if you're in your 90s, and it's not happening, you can understand why she's having doubts. And so she says, hey, Abram, take my handmaiden Hagar. Yeah, the hottie that works for me. I want you to sleep with her. And Abram's like, twist my arm. Fine, okay, all right, listen, happy wife, happy life. I'm just going to follow what she wants. Hagar gets pregnant, has Ishmael, and the day she finds out she's pregnant, she starts to mistreat Sarah. Sarah's like, what is going on? This life is, what? This God, this. And then she gets pregnant. And she's like, oh. I was so upset. And it's like, I told you I was doing this for you. But because I didn't do it immediately, and she's like, well, immediately, I'm in my 90s. That's not, that's a long gap. But do you have faith? Or does that faith end after a certain number of weeks or a certain number of months or a certain number of years? And that's really when the rubber meets the road. It's like this is when, as you pray for things, you pray for people and situations, and if it doesn't happen immediately, it's like, God, I've given you a chance. I have known so many people who've walked away from the faith because it wasn't working for them. And it's like, what are you expecting? Listen, I've tried everything. I've had counseling, I've been to therapy, I've been to doctors, I read books, I meditate, I do all these different things trying to figure out, and I'm trying God, and I'm still not better. And it's like, what are you trying to do with God? Do you want him simply to be a fix-it? the genie in a bottle, or are you trying to have a relationship with him where in that relationship you grow and then and he walks with you through life? That's when true transformation starts taking place. How many of you have ever thought you were in love? Yeah, right? And how many of you fell out of love? And how many times? No, and who were those people? No. It's the same kind of thing, this idea of love. Like some of you remember that parable that I taught in parable with Seamus the mouse and the guinea pig. You guys heard that one? You remember that? Anyone? Seamus the mouse. He's a wee mouse, and he falls in love with the guinea pig. Oh, she was a beautiful, voluptuous guinea pig. And he was just a wee little mouse. And he was falling in love with her, and he said one day, my dear lady, do you love me? And she says, oh, Seamus, I love you. I love you like the sun, the flowers love the sun. I love you for all time. And he started thinking, I'm just a wee little man. How could she love me? So she was talking to one of his boys down at the pub. He's all glum. He's like, oh, Seamus, why are you so glum? He said, well, I don't know. She says she loves me. I just can't tell. Why would she love me? Look at me. And his boy said, hey, Seamus, do you not know about the lake of truth? And he's like, the lake of truth? Yeah. Oh, you got to go down into the lake of truth. Go down there and swim a bit. You'll be able to hear her thoughts. And he's like, oh my gosh, I've never heard of it. So he takes her down there. They have a picnic. They go swimming. And he says, my dear, he's thinking it's the moment of truth. Do you really love me? And she says, oh, Seamus, I love you. And he's hearing it from her mind as well as her mouth. And she's like, I love you like the sun loves like the plants love the sun. I love you for all time. And he's so excited. And he's running. He goes down to the pub with his mates and he's like, oh, Lord, she loves me. She loves me. And they celebrate. And then about 3 weeks later, Seamus is coming down. And he's all glum. And his mates say, Seamus, what's wrong? He says, she left me for another moose. I thought she loved you. Seamus said, he went to the Lake of Truth, right? You heard her thoughts? And she says, yeah, well, evidently she only thought she loved me. Ah. How many times has that happened to us? We were with somebody and we're like, oh my gosh, this is the one. Ah. The skies part, the angels sing. This person in my life is going to be the most, oh, it's wonderful. And then whether it's a few weeks or a few months or a few years later, it's like, wah, wah. Not so wonderful. Started getting to know what they're really like. Oh, this is not what I bargained for. This is not, you are not making me happy. And it's like, when I first started following God, I thought I loved him. But I had no idea what that was. You see, because I loved him because I felt like he was going to give me something. And give me something good. And I followed him because I believed he was going to give me something good. And I knew that if I just did the right thing, I'd have the perfect marriage. And then if I kept doing the right thing and learning the right things and reading the right things and praying and reading my Bible, I'd have perfect children because that's what happens, right? And then I would have a perfect job. And then everything would just be perfect because I'm in love with God and God in love with me, and he makes sure everything is just perfect. And then you live life a little bit, and it's not so perfect. And then you realize that this person you're married to has some different qualities than you thought they had. And you're like, well, then you have to make a decision. Oh, sure, you make a decision. And if you're married, you make that covenant, right? I promise, because you're amazing. I promise to love you, to be faithful to you for all times because you are amazing. And then after their amazement stops, you're not holding hands anymore. And you look at this person because they're annoying and messy and sometimes stinky and sometimes irritable. And it's like, wait, you come home and you're waiting for the meal and you're waiting for the foot rub and you're waiting for the hot toddy. And nothing's happening like that. And you're like, what's going on? This is not what I bargained for. And it's like, but do you love her? Do you love him? Well, you see, because love is that decision that we make to stay. And not just to stay in misery, but to make it better. Right? That's not the idea. It's like, well, my great-grandpappy and mommy, they stayed together for 75 years, and I guess I'll have to do it too. As miserable as it is. No, man, God can make it better if both parties are willing. Sometimes you can't. I understand that. Believe me, I know. Sometimes someone's just like, I'm done, I'm out, and they leave. Nothing you can do about it. I know, it's not black and white. I get that. I'm not trying to say it is. But I'm saying with God it is. You see, because God promises he will never leave you or forsake you. God promises, I always want what's best for you. We're the ones who keep moving away, right? We're the ones who keep trying other things, even while we're saying, I love God and I want to be married to you, Lord. I want to be committed to you. I want you when I need you. But in the meantime, I have other needs. And I'm going to follow this and try this and do this. And God's like, I love you. Just be patient and wait. Have faith in me. I want you to be happy. I want you to be at peace in life. I desire that for you. But you got to do things my way, and I'm not just going to be in everything perfect. Doesn't work like that. No, life doesn't work that way. So sometimes we think we love God, and we don't really love God. We're not really committed to God. We're just okay with him as long as he's giving me what I need. I got a check in the mail this week. Wasn't huge, but it was a check in the mail because I overpaid something in my, insurance or something. And I'm like, I was excited, right? Because God promises he'll always take care of us. But he doesn't say I'm going to give it to you way ahead. I'm going to make you sweat. I'm going to make you a little bit anxious. I'm going to make you think that it's the edge is right here, and I'm going to be chapter 11 or 7. And God's like, hold on, I got you. Right? I'll take care of you. I'm going to make sure that you have what you need. Maybe all the toys that you have isn't what you need. Maybe you have to sell some of your toys. Maybe that's part of what I'm trying to do because I want to know, who do you love more, me or all the things that you have? See, when you have faith in God, there comes the point where it's like, is my faith in God like a haunted house where it's like, I don't really believe in ghosts. But I hear things, and they scare me. I watch movies. I hear what other people or what other things are saying, and now I'm terrified of my house. And some of us are living in a house that God has built. And he's like, I'm here with you, and you kind of hear that, but then you hear the rumblings, and you watch the movies, and you start to think, well, maybe this isn't what I thought it was going to be. This keeps failing me, and believe me, and some of you know this quite well, churches and Christians can fail you greatly, but God never will. That's the truth. And as we strive to have this thing called faith, it's like, God, I want to know you and I want to love you more. And even though it's not tangible and I can see the benefits of walking with you, of living with you. And all the mistakes that we make, and we make a lot of them, all the choices that we make that are bad, God's like, I love you in spite of all of that. I'm with you in spite of, listen, I'm not loving you because you're doing everything right. I love you because you're my child. And I want that relationship with you. So turn away, stop looking with with guilt or with shame at all the dumb things that we've done in the past and look forward to, with God. And as we walk with him, he will show us he is faithful. And if we stay to that journey of faith, we won't regret it. But as we get off that journey of faith, that's when we experience that regret. And it's like, all right, Lord, all right, I'm sorry. Let's get back here. He's like, it's all right. This is your journey. This is what you needed to go through. This is all part of the process. I love you. Don't worry. Keep moving. Keep moving. Don't get stuck. All right, let's pray.